Hello everyone! Before we start to our lesson, let me greet each one of you. Have a pleasant day everyone. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Janelle Uberdad, 18 years old from Ticulio, Cardona, Rizal. In your screen, you can see a man and you're wondering, who is he? He is Rene Descartes. And there's a question that we need to find out. Who is Rene Descartes? Rene Descartes was and is considered the father of modern philosophy, but he was not only a philosopher, he is also a well-known French mathematician and scientist. He was born in Descartes, formerly known as La Haye in Touraine. He was born in a family which produced a number of learned men. He is the son of minor nobleman. During 1604 to 1612, Descartes studied at Jesuit College of La Fleche. However, he later claimed that education except for mathematics gave him little of substance. Only mathematics, he said, had given him certain knowledge. Additionally, he was a rationalist philosopher in Europe, part of a group that believed truth is universal and reason is more important than sensory experience. Descartes made significant contribution to knowledge through his development of the Cartesian method and invention of analytic geometry. He questioned what could be known with certainty and explored different sources for answers. Through three dreams, he was guided to create a systematic knowledge framework based on human reason alone. He expressed his doubts of the existence of all things, especially materialistic objects. Descartes did not believe that the information we receive through our sense is necessarily accurate. Example, when we see an object that is far away, it appears to be smaller. The information we receive through our sense is not accurate always. Descartes' system. Using his dreams as guide, Descartes came up with a system using principles that were true and related to each other in a clear and meaningful way. He turned to mathematics. Through math, he discovered that the human mind has two powers. Number one, intuition. Intuition or the ability to apprehend direction of certain truths. Example, imagine you are trying to decide between two job opportunities. Both positions seems appealing on paper, but something feels up about one of them. You can't quite put your finger on it, but your intuition tells you that something isn't right. Despite not having any concrete evidence or logical reason to back up your feeling, you trust your intuition and decide to decline the job offer that fell off. Months later, you find out that the company you turned down went through a major financial crisis and had to lay off a significant number of employees. Meanwhile, the other company has been thriving and you are flourishing in your role there. In this example, your intuition turned out to be correct and guided you to make the right decision for your careers. Next. Number 2, deduction, or the power to discover what is not known by progressing in an orderly way from what is already known. Truths are arrived at using a step-by-step process. Example, let's say you come home and discover that your phone is missing from its usual spot on the coffee table. You notice that the front door is slightly ajar and there are muddy footprints leading from the door to the living room. By using deductive reasoning, you can make logical conclusions based on the available evidences. In this case, you might deduce that someone entered your home uninvited and stole your phone. Your deduction is based on the combination of the open door, moody footprints, and the missing phone. Rather than jumping to conclusion without evidence, deducting allows you to reason logically and draw an inference based on the information in front of you. Descartes believed That reasoning could produce absolute truths about nature, existence, morality, and God. The truths that can be discovered are a priori. Descartes' view of human nature. I think, therefore I am, cogito ergo sum. The phrase I think, therefore I am is Descartes' famous statement that captures the essence of his philosophy. It means that the act of thinking is evidence of one's existence. According to Descartes, if someone is doubting, questioning, affirming, denying, or having any kind of consciousness, thought, then they must exist as a thinking being. One example of this principle in action is when someone is in a state of deep meditation or contemplation. In that moment, they are actively engaged in thinking and reflecting, which serve as evidence of their existence as a thinking being. Even if they were to doubt everything else about their reality, the act of thinking itself proves their existence. Cogito ergo sum, or I think therefore I am, means that if we are doubting, then we are thinking. If we are thinking, then we are exist. But how does Descartes view a thinking thing? A thinking thing is a being that doubts, understands, asserts, denies, feels, imagines, and the like. Descartes asserts that the thinker possesses certain abilities, including doubting, understanding, affirming, denying, willing, and refusing, as well as the ability to imagine and feel, emphasizing the complexity and richness of the human mind. The mind-body problem. Descartes considered the soul, mind, also the self, as a substance that is separate from the body. Based on this, Descartes believed that all bodily processes are mechanical. The body, according him, is like a machine that is controlled by the will and aided by the mind. On the other hand, Descartes considered the mind, soul, self as a non-physical substance that is distinct from the body. He argued that the mind is responsible for consciousness, thought, and free will. According to Descartes, the mind controls the body through the final gland, directing its movements and actions in accordance with its decisions and desires. In Descartes' view, the mind and body interact through his control mechanism, where the mind exercises its will to move and manipulate the body. The mind, being non-physical, is not subject to the same laws of mechanics as the body. Instead, it has the capacity for rational thought, introspection, and freedom of choice. So, while Descartes saw the body as a machine that is controlled by the mind, he believed that the mind is fundamentally different from the body due to its non-physical nature and its capacity for conscious awareness and reasoning. Here, an example to illustrate Descartes' view of the mind and body as distinct substances. Imagine you are sitting at your desk, trying to decide whether to study for an upcoming exam or take a break and watch a movie. According to Descartes, your mind is the seat of conscious awareness and rational thought. It is responsible for contemplating the options and making a decision. You weigh the pros and cons, consider your priorities, and ultimately decide to study for the exam. In this example, your mind is the non-physical substance that is responsible for the mental process of deliberation and decision-making. Meanwhile, your body is the physical substance that carries out the decision made by your mind. That's all. Thank you for watching and listening.